Hey guys, this video right here is going to be about Attack of the Frawgs. This is a DCC RPG adventure by Thick Skull Adventures. First off, I want to say that this is going to be an adventure overview, so if you're a player, do not watch anymore. Go do something else. But if you're a game master, a judge, and you're interested in running this, hopefully I'll give you a little bit of insight into what you're going to be facing, maybe how to tweak it, and how to expand it. First thing I want to say is that I've played this a couple times in conventions and at my local store, and it was fun. The thing about it is it's kind of what the characters that they've played D&D and some other fantasy role-playing games, they kind of know, but it has a bit of a twist to it. It has a little bit of a tweak that then you can take and really ramp up in the DCC RPG game. So what you have is you have a town that's being attacked by these half-frog men, pretty much is what they are. And this town gets its main trade is through trapping these creatures called Gicasters, and they're beavers and bears put together. They're a mixture of the two. So you've got the swimming and dam creating ability of a beaver, and you've got the body rending ability of a bear and the massiveness of a bear. So that's what they go and they trap, and they skin them and use sell their furs and stuff. So what you've got is this town that's being besieged by these kind of frog men. All right, and your character's gonna be going around the lake. Okay, there's a map of the lake, and you're gonna be going around, and you're gonna be slowly getting to pretty much the apex of the adventure is what is happening, what's going on, and there's a little bit of an intrigue that's in the adventure too. Possibly there's a conspiracy going on with some of the local inhabitants of the town of Sagewood, and there's also this bigger threat that's possibly going to come over this part of the area. Apparently up in the north there's this evil land called the Black Corruption, and it's starting to slowly branch out and claim other areas. And this is kind of an early look at what's going to happen and who's the forces that are behind it. So the adventure play is not so deadly, but that's something that you can ramp up. There's a great NPC. His name's Gino, and you should hopefully see him. The player should see him very early on in the adventure. He's lost his mind from hallucinogens from these frog people. He thinks that PCs are demons, and that is a great NPC right off the bat. That for you as a game master, as a DCC RPG judge, you can really have fun with this character, because when they find him, he thinks that the players are frog demons, and so you can really act this character out. The characters may know him, so they may try to. In all the adventures I play, they try to subdue him. And that leads to some fun, too. A simple punch to the face will knock this guy out. But before that happens, he can rant and rave, and you can just really ramp him up. I had Gino just foaming at the mouth. Back you demons! Just really ramping him up. He's almost peeing himself from fear. And that's just a really fun NPC. So have some fun with that guy. The characters will be doing a little bit of exploration in the first kind of part of the adventure. In this brewery is where they're at. They're at the wheelhouse, and that's where they're going to meet Gino. Gino's been held up there, and he's thirsty. He probably hasn't had anything to eat. He's locked in there. Okay, so you can really work on his kind of gauntness and the fear that this character's got. So throw him at the characters. They're going to explore the wheelhouse a little bit. They're going to get a couple clues into this bigger kind of conspiracy. They won't really understand it, but really make sure they find the clue that's in the wheelhouse. All right. They're going to go around the lake, and one of the big spots they're going to come to is going to be this dam, this Gicaster dam. Now this is a really great part of the adventure, because in essence it's almost like a bridge that's a dam, and they've got to either walk on top of it, and every time I ran the adventure players are just like, I'm walking on top of it. Well, there's a chance that it's going to cave in, they're going to fall through into the dam. Now, and the dam is kind of hollow. It's kind of like a cannoli, if you wish. And inside is where the Jycaster's den is. Now, every single time I ran it, the characters fell. And when they fall inside, there's a possibility they'll be skewered by a stick or something. Come up, jab them in the neck, in the jugular, they're bleeding out, they're dead. So there's a good death moment right there. And then you've got this character who's in essence trapped. He's trapped in this this dam. And you're going to have, hopefully, if you want some, this is a good action moment, is there's a large female Jycaster. And I had her every time just running into the middle, through the middle of this dam. And they can hear it, and they can see something, some massive creature is just busting. They can hear its breath as it's coming forward. And the characters don't really know what it's like. They've heard about the Jycasters, but you know, you're going to have players trying to scramble up out of the hole. You have the other players trying to shoot down into the hole, whatever it is, trying to attack it. So it doesn't, the players don't really have a bunch of room to mess with. So that character that drops in there, he's in a rough spot. So he gets attacked by this Jycaster. The other characters are trying to help. And if somehow they get out, that's an get out of the hole. There's an opportunity there for that Jycaster just to come leaping up. And it's a great moment to really ramp up the description of this massive beast, snarling teeth, claws, come busting up out of this hole and just landing right in the middle of your adventurers and just wreaking havoc on it. It's a fantastic scene. I really like it. They get to explore the dam a little bit, get a couple items out of there from some of the earlier meals that the Jycaster had, and then they're going to go around the lake. Now, around the lake are these traps. These are traps they use for the Jycasters. And that's a fun moment to maybe sever a leg of a character. You know, that's going to kill one of them or severely damage them. So that's a good. Those are cool little traps there. And you're going to continue around the lake, and you'll be getting more and more clues. And what I would do is I would put the adventure kind of late at night or getting towards night. So as they continue along, it's getting darker and darker. Now, one thing that's cool about DCC RPG is that lots of times you're going to have characters that only need a weapon in one hand. They don't have a shield, especially if they're 0 level. So they can hold torches. So picture this, they're outside, the wind's blowing on this lake, and they're going around this lake. It's getting darker and darker. And this is a great moment for you to ramp up if you use sound effects, you know, the sound of frogs, obviously frogs, you know, in the night, the sound of maybe some rushing water later on in the adventure. So if you use sound effects, this is a great adventure to really do that, where you can have the croaking of frogs, and you know, really press that it's getting darker and darker. They've got their torches out. They're going around. They're looking around the ground for clues, and you know, they're going to continue around. They're going to get more clues, more traps, and they're going to come to this kind of bog that's kind of full of this like acid, and that's it's like an acid water almost. It's got a sludge in it, and then you're going to have some fun. The characters are going to try to figure out what to do with this. They see a body that they're trying to get to, and they're going to try to mess with it, and you're going to have a lot of fun there. The characters are going to try to do something weird. They always do. They're going to try to go out there. One of them's going to get irritated. They're going to try to throw ropes at it, try to snag it, and finally someone's just going to say, I'm going to run out there. And they may figure up some jury rig, some sort of armor, or, you know, extra padding around their legs so they don't get burned, or whatever the case may be. After that, you're pretty much going to be close to setting up your last big scene. It's not a huge, long adventure. You should be able to play this in one night easily. And the last part has got a lot of good fighting. It's got some lot of cool description you can give for the monsters. And these are these frogmen, these frogs. You know, this is where, when you're running, you can really ramp up where they're at. It's in this waterfall cave that's picturesque. That's just a great scene. Climbing up this, you know, the water's hitting on top of them. They're trying to grab onto wet rocks. And I actually had a character fall. He only had 1 hit point, bashed his brains out on those rocks. And that's hilarious. He thought he made it there to the end. And then what I do is, in the cavern of these frogmen, have it full of frogs, little tiny frogs hop all over the place. That lets you ramp up your sound effects, really gives that notion. You know, let the character step on them and squish them in blood and guts and stuff from these frogs. And then they're going to have the final battle. And I don't want to get too much into that, but you'll read how it is. But really, really go to town on the frog spawner. Have her just be a grotesque, just monstrosity. Use the word express a lot. She's expressing into the stream. That's hilarious, and you can really get up and act out the motions of her expressing her eggs. Just a hilarious scene there, and then great fight. But now here's something I want to let you know of. You can end it there, and characters can go back to town, and they can have a good little conspiracy thing about what happened, and continue on what the adventure says. Or, if you want to continue on with this, because a lot of characters will be like, what's going on with these frogmen? Have the opening at the end of the cave, have it open up wider, and let it go into some deep, deep caverns. This is an optional thing. And now what you can do is you've now expanded these frog guys to maybe some sort of underground small city of these frog people. Whatever the case, you want to do with it, but there is a moment there that you can expand that wider. Don't make it just a cave and there's no real exit coming out of it. There's water pouring out of the rocks, but have it be a cave that you can really go down and do some, some caving, some spelunking down in there. And you can create your own little frog guys down there, little habitat that they've been living in. So that's a fun thing, and your characters may say, well, where these guys come from? But the adventure does tell you, how to continue on with this adventure, or where it's going to lead into, and that's going to lead into the next adventure by Thick Skull Adventures. Stephen Newton, the guy who wrote this adventure, he's got a big adventure called The Haunting of Larvick Island. This is a great adventure, and I'll be doing a video about this hopefully in the future too. But let Attack of the Frogs be kind of like a prelude to it, and everything's going to come around full circle. So as a judge, you know that this is going to be a long, branching kind of adventure. But if you want to do something now before you get those adventures, expand that cave out, and you can really ramp that up with a nice cave adventure after Attack the Frogs. So yeah, it's a great adventure. It's really encapsulates DCC RPG. It's not as lethal. Add more creatures. Add more rats. There's a rat you're going to fight early on. Have 3 rats. Have more Gicasters attacking them. Have more crabs. You're going to be some giant crabs, crab fiends they're called. Ramp those guys up. If your characters aren't dying the way that you want them to, you feel like they should be dying, do that, okay? But there will be players that will enjoy the fact that they've got their guys and they're going in there and they're taking care of this problem, and they're not losing 70% of their dudes. They do have some fatalities, but again, Attack of the Frogs, Thick Skull Adventures. Stephen Newton's a great guy, and check out his website. I'll have a link to it, and I'm looking forward to everything that he does with his line of adventures, because you can just tell they're made with a lot of passion. And just to let you know, that next adventure there, The Haunting of Larvick Island, is awesome. It's got tons of stuff in it, and I look forward to making that video for you guys. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you get a little bit of something out of it, and thanks.